This Pit Boss podcast is brought to you by our very good friends at Molly's Place Sporting Goods. Easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville on Maryland's Upper Eastern Shore. The hard-to-find guns, the ammunition that's non-existent today, Molly's has you covered. Plus, much, much more. Molly's is your one-stop destination with Molly's Restaurant, Molly's Mart, and Molly's Place Sporting Goods. Visit them online at mymollys.com, MYMOLLYS.com. Fuel your adventure at Molly's. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set, please. All right. As I take a deep breath, it is day 60 of 60. Sadly, not sea duck hunting. No, we're not. Catch-up day for me. It is Friday, the 7th in the year 2022. So, kicking off another podcast here. I just poured myself. Man, it smells so good. It really does smell good. I apologize if you hear some noise there. That's Rod taking a drink like I'm much going to take a drink myself. I poured some Weller Antique. It's good stuff. Neat. Just a little bit. So I got that going on. So here's my I'm trying to make notes, trying to do a better job at this. So here are my notes. What topics that I am going to cover. It is day 60. The last day of the special sea duck season here in Atlantic Flyway. Wind and weather. That's been the story of my season. Next season. What's in store for next season? Big news, at least big news for Karen and I. We have fired up the Patreon account. Pater. I'm dyslexic. patreno.com/Jeff Coates, JEFFCOATS. So we got the Patreon account fired up. And as luck would have it yesterday, a banded scoter. So they are very, very few and far between. So I'm going to readjust here just a second. There we go. Readjust that. Got Ryan kind of walking around me. I am not in the Pitboss War Room. Oh, there she got a toy. Not in the Pitboss War Room where often I am. I used to do all my editing up there. I do miss the 27-inch iMacs. There's two of them sitting there. And they're still sitting there. It's just I'm not using them anymore. I am down actually in the little makeshift Pitboss War Room with a 16-inch MacBook Pro. As powerful as I could get them to make it for me. It's kind of just a little makeshift. Been doing all my editing on the MacBook 6 here. I go off on a tangent. Been doing all my editing on the MacBook Pro, really starting back before PEI even. So just try to get used to it. My eyes, man, I do miss the 27-inch screen versus this little 16-inch screen. But very mobile, very portable, and the best part about it truly is that I don't feel like I alienate myself from Karen. So it's sitting up there all by myself. I can hear Duke now if you can hear some weird noises there going on. But yeah, this is how I'm set up, and this is where I am sitting. And again, I wish you could smell this. It just the aroma is awesome in itself. I could just sit there and smell it, but I do like to drink it too. Weller Antique. I think it might be my favorite bourbon, actually. Straight bourbon whiskey. So, all right. So it is day 60 of 60, and we had it's kind of acting like it did last January, actually. First off, my season has been just super windy, and the weather has been crappy pretty much all season long. There was only one week that I got all 6 days in. Sadly, I find myself saying sadly a lot these days, but yeah, sadly. And day 60 of 60. Last day of the special sea duck season in the Atlantic Flyway. So next year in the Atlantic Flyway, sea ducks, not that they're not ducks, but sea ducks will be legally targeted during whatever the Atlantic Flyway State is regular duck season. And the sea duck limit in a bag limit of 5, no more than 4 of any one species. 5 birds, you can have total 5 sea ducks this year. Today, still, I guess until sunset, you can have 5 sea ducks with no more than 4 scoter. For old squall, long-tailed duck, or eider. So next year, that 5 birds is going to be reduced to 4 birds with only 3 of one species. So basically taking a bird away from us. But I guess for the betterment of the resource, kind of straighten my hair on my face out here. For the betterment of the resource for years to come, it probably is a wise thing to do. Next season, man, my calendar is, for the 60 days for next year, my calendar is kind of fastly booking. It seems like each year, the past couple seasons, like it happens quicker and quicker. I even booked Christmas Day this year. Didn't go. An issue on their end, not mine. The weather was right to go. But yeah, so next season, looking forward to I'm looking forward to a lot of things, and I got a lot on my plate through this spring and summer and fall. But there's no confusion about it. This is guiding is how I make my money. So at least a major major portion of my income comes from guiding. So hate to make it about the money, but Pitboss F350 is paid for. But like I used to always say, Ford Motor Credit only accepts U.S. dollars. They don't accept, decoys and clothing and all that other kind of good stuff that's out there that seems to be readily available. They only accept dollar bills, U.S. ones. So next season, on it, and I'm looking forward to hitting it hard. As I say that whole second. And I think in the last podcast with Karen, I talked about just I feel like I need to up my service. It is a guide service, and it's about the service of providing what I do provide. That folks are paying their hard-earned money and good money for. So I just want to try to improve, stay ahead of the curve, improve my service. So that's probably first and foremost, on the horizon of my mind of for next season. Karen did talk about a couple ideas. Her kind of brainstorming. Excuse my phone. Her brainstorming about things that I could do, and we're going to use the video medium for a lot of those things. So yes, next season. Patreon. Again, www.patreon, patreon.com. And then our account is /Jeff, Jeff Coates, Coats. Very mixed emotions about this because I've never wanted to ask people for money. Even I don't want to ask people to hunt with me. Maybe indirectly I do, but like I would not come out and verbalize and say, hey, Jimmy, Johnny, whatever name I should use or couldn't use, come hunt with me, please. And I've never done that. I've always wanted people to want to come hunt with me. So kind of the theme of asking for money, it's almost like the GoFundMe stuff. And I have nothing against GoFundMe except I'm not going to have a GoFundMe account because I don't need it to be funded as far as to GoFundMe. But Patreon, I first found I'm a big, it's my email, Carolina Wren. I am a big fan of YouTube, if you didn't know that already. Actually, I've just been putting up a couple new more videos, so if you can get on there, youtube.com/Pitboss, P-I-T, man, my phone, B-O-S-S, I should silence it, but then I'll forget to turn it back on. Pitboss Waterfowl, or /Jeff Coates. New videos up there pretty much almost daily. Again, especially with the new MacBook Pro, really does help me get stuff done. So let me rewind. Patreon. So YouTube. There's a lot of channels out there, younger couples, a lot of people use it. And basically it's they're asking you to support them, send them money, and then that in turn should help them improve, help us improve, Karen and I improve. I'll turn it into she and I. Us are the content that we produce: video, audio, and maybe a little bit in between there too. So, I want Patreon is a service you're going to pay. You're going to buy into Patreon. You're going to become a member of our channel. You're going to support us. And Patreon is the medium that allows you. I just, some of these words I think I like to use them, but then after I say it doesn't sound right. But yeah, it's the medium to allow you to support us and help us grow. So I want there to be value. So we have 3 levels there, and instead of just saying an entry level, say, hey, thank you for supporting us. I always have people asking for decals. Hey, can I get decals? Hey, can I buy decals? So I think just going to make up a Pitboss decal pack. So for the entry level at, what is it, $6? $6 a month. That will be, you'll at least be getting something for your money, right? Then the level number 2 is at $12. And after a few months of that, if you commit to that, we're going to come up with a exclusive, limited to only Patreon, only our patrons, our patrons. There we go, patrons. Our patrons it's going to be a Pitboss patron shirt. So that will be level number 2, and you also get decals too, because it obviously includes level number 1. And then the 3rd level, Karen's on board with this 100%. It is a $45 level, but we are going to give away 4. Let me make sure that I explain this correctly. It's not 4 hunts, but we're going to give away a sea duck hunt for 4 patrons. So it's going to be a mixed group of people. If you are the lucky one chosen, you will be with 3 other patrons. And we are going to assume that because you are a patron of ours, you follow along with us, you buy into what we're doing, you somewhat like what we're doing. So therefore, if for nothing else, hopefully it's 4 like-minded people sitting with me, the 5th person in the boat, and we're gonna give away one of these hunts every season, and for 4 people, 4 patrons. So it's just, if you win, you're coming by yourself, but you're going to be with 3 other patrons, and again myself. And want to try to incorporate some decoy giveaways in this too. So that's level number 3, and as well as you'll get the special T-shirt. I think maybe if this really goes off well, and there's a lot of interest in patron for us, that we'll work some hooded sweatshirts in there too. So something that's been on our list. It's been on my radar, my list longer than Karen's. Time out 1 second. Weller Antique, that's good stuff. It's been on my radar much longer than Karen's, but I've explained it to her, and yeah, she wants there to be value also. So we are lined up on that aspect of it too. We're lined up on everything really in our lives, but just sometimes have to. If I say pitch the idea, it means that I don't know. I guess I do. I pitch an idea. I pitch a thought. I pitch an idea to her. Pitch in the sense of trying to sell her on it, see what her reaction is. Sometimes she kind of gives me the raised eyebrow when I tell her stuff, but not in this case. So back to sea duck hunting, but I'm going to say it one more time: patreon.com/Jeff JEFF Coates COATS. If you would, I have some public. There's some things posted that you're going to be able to see there that it's open to the public, and then there's going to be content there that's only going to be patron exclusive. So some added, not that I cuss and carry on, but maybe some more behind the scenes of what we're doing, what we're thinking, and how we do things. So patreon.com. Back to sea duck hunting. Yesterday, and this year, I always look. I guess just if you're a waterfowl hunter, it probably is. Every time a bird comes back, what do you look for? Well, maybe look at the bird, but do you check the leg out? Kind of, even if you're not like touching the bird, do you check the leg to see if there's a band on it? As I go around and pick up the sea ducks this year, I wasn't going to be surprised if I saw a band. And yesterday was day 59 of 60, and a little group of 4 surfs come in, 2 of them rolled out, and one of them. There was a bird that was out there before this group decoyed that we were going out to get, as well as from this group of 4, one sailed out. So we went to find the first bird, and we didn't find it. And the tide was running pretty good, strong current, so I wanted to pick the 2 dead birds up before we went out further. And I'm glad we did. I mean, usually we find the birds floating anyway. It's rare we don't find them. So we come up to the 2 birds, and 2 surf scoter drakes, good-looking birds, and netted the first one, put it up, and as I lay it down, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a band on it. So I say, fellas, we got an issue. and Shane said, what's the issue? And they all kind of turned their heads around. I think they figured it out kind of quickly. But since 1994, it's only the 8th bird surf scoter that I've had in my hands that had a band on it. And this morning I was telling Karen, we kind of recapped the story, and we talked about possibly me doing this podcast today. And she says, do you feel bad? And I was like, I have had a lot of dead ones in my hands over the years, so I hope there's no payback sometime down the road for this. But yeah, I have had many scoter. Surf scoter, common scoter, a few white wings. Way back in the day, a lot of old squaw, and a couple eider. So I have been fortunate eider. My first day with Randy Drago, I did. Actually, my very first bird, the first day with Randy Drago, was a banded eider. So I do get a little, I guess, positive karma every now and then, and I did fortunate to get that eider. But number 8, scoter band, all time, lifetime, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not claiming I shot it, but all the ones that have been shot, I take some credit for because I was God and I took them. So number 8 since 1994. So my question to you is, and because in this podcast you can't really interact with me, but I'm going to put this podcast over on Patreon. I've already told you how to get there. Patreon.com/Jeff Coates. And in Patreon, you can interact with me and comment. So much like people do on YouTube, the YouTube videos get a lot of interaction there. Well, with podcasts, you really can't. There's really no medium to, I guess I'm using that word, right? Medium? There is really no medium to interact with the podcast that you're listening to. So I guess after the fact, you can always, email them, text them, message them on some other, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. But straight up podcast, there's really no way to interact. So I'm going to put this podcast over there for free. No charge, no cost, however you want to spin it, describe it. But go over there, please, and tell me, how many bands have you shot? Do you see, I have people tell me that it's either like feast or famine. Seems like they've shot, a lot, words are relative, right? But they've shot many bands, or they've one to none bands kind of thing. So how many bands have you shot? And what is the most interesting story about a banded bird that you shot? I have many. I do have many. If I go down through the list, there's a snow goose that stands out in my mind, a yellow collared snow goose that was shot just outside Bombay Hook, near Dover, Delaware. There is my collared Canada goose that I shot with, sadly gone now, Coot. She was an awesome animal. I guess I have good memories there, and I could tell you the story there about that. And then we move into, there's some more snow goose bands. There's one Canada goose band that I did not shoot, although I am the possessor of it today. And that revolved around actually my first hunting with Donald Hughes, and my first time that I met Bill DeGeorge. So that's a good story that I could tell. And after I don't want to ruin the story yet, but there's a good story in there. At least it's a good story to me. So then we go through. That's how many Canada geese? There's another collared Canada goose that I have a very good story with. That actually the diamond dog. She's again an awesome black female. She retrieved in that same hunt. I shot 2 banded brant. So that's there's a lot of good memories there. Let's see. So that goes through my Canada geese. Let me make sure that's the Canada bands that I have. I think that's it. And then I already said Brant, but then move into Brant. There's a strong Brant band collection that I have. So there's a couple good stories in there. The one I really want to tell, and I told Karen to be respectful, I had to think exactly how I can tell this story, because I don't want it to be negative. But I'll just tell it this way. Donald Hughes and I, and you know what? I need to do, if I did not meet Donald Hughes in 1994, 5, 6, when did I meet him? I'll pick the year in the middle, 1995. If I did not meet Donald Hughes online, on the internet, which I had no idea what the internet was, believe that or not. If I did not meet Donald Hughes in 1995, you wouldn't be listening to me today, or I wouldn't be doing this, because he is at the epicenter of my turning point into the waterfowl world. How about that? And not really the waterfowl world, but the guiding, the promotion, and the guiding and the guiding and the guiding of waterfowl, sea ducks specifically. So I need to give him utmost credit. And man, I honestly and sincerely, it's probably not daily, but multiple times a week, I still think of Donald Hughes. There's something. There's a picture painting Brian Vavra did for me that has Donald Hughes' face on it. Little character, not a character. It has a very small face in the corner of a what is it? Watercolor drawing they did in pencil also, with Coot holding a brand, and he also did Coot swimming. There's another one I can see sitting here, Coot swimming with some old squall and the old squall decoys. But the Coot holding the brand, Donald Hughes is in the picture. The TDB is in the picture with the blind up, and it's all about brand. So I really do think of Donald. Again, if it's not daily, I don't want to exaggerate. I'm a fisherman, but I don't want to exaggerate. But I do think of him multiple times a week. The story goes, and I'd have to say this is probably like 1999 or 2000. Yeah, 99 or 2000. I guess I don't know why I don't, not a member anymore, but the New Jersey Waterfowl Association I was a member of, got their newsletter, and all they talked about was the money that they were putting into Brant banding. And they'd give you numbers, and then they'd give you the returns, band returns that they would get also. And Weller, antique. So talking with Donald, he had a trailer in Virginia just over the state line, and I'm going to tell you that the limit was 3 birds. So we could shoot 6. And I just, he knew I wanted to shoot a band, because I hadn't shot a band yet. I wanted to shoot a band. And this would have been the very first band. I have to think back, make sure I'm telling the truth, but this is the very first band that I would have ever shot. Now, another story with Donald and Bill DeGeorge, I would have had the opportunity to shoot a band that I did not take the opportunity. But I'd say 2 years later or so, the opportunity did show itself again. So in my mind, it's like early December. It would have been a 60-day season, I believe, 3 birds. And we're set up nice, salt marsh, salt water, tidal water, just outside Chincoteague. And we're hunting, and I shot one and sailed it. And it went quite a ways. Like, you had to really watch it. And I do this now. I don't know, maybe it's a learning process over the years that definitely I implement that today with sea ducks. But when a bunch of sea ducks get shot into, I really watch them as they go out, because quite often, one will roll out. Sometimes they're dead. Sometimes they're not. But definitely I watch. I'm observant, and I watch to see, what all is happening there. So this bird sails a ways. And we were, again, boat set up on totally open water, so we're in the boat. We're not against the shoreline where we can go walk or anything. And there was a discussion about going and getting this bird, and you could see it was still alive, but it was over there quite a ways. Anyway, roll over it. It was a bird I shot, so I do want to make as much effort I do make, not I don't want to, I do make as much effort as I can to get down birds, and I always have. Go over there, and boom, there's my band. So I guess I made it sound like there was going to be something bad in there, and there's nothing really bad in there. Nothing. There's definitely nothing illegal on my terms. But anyway, I will leave it at that. But we did shoot. We ended up shooting our 6 birds. The bird that's I sailed, we went over and got it, and that was my first banded brant. So again, I'm going to ask you, what is your first? How about this? What's your first banded bird? Everybody remembers it, right? How do you not remember bands? Now, I just kind of went through my mind, and I had to think about really what it was. I had to think about the bands that I have, and then when I think about the band, then I can tell you what took place. There's 3 good. I'm rambling. There's 3 good stories in there where 1, 2, 3 different times before I took the shot, I called the bird to be banded with brant. I can go over those stories sometime. But the question to you is, again, like you everybody remembers their banded birds as well as their first bird. So what is your first banded bird? That's question number 1. How about this? Question number 1 is, do you have any bands? Because if you don't have any, you can't answer the question I just asked. So question number 1 is, do you have any bands? Question number 2 is, how many bands do you have? And number 3 would be, if there's a couple top good memories, tell me what your most memorable band recovery was. How about that? So that is about all I've got. I did make my list, so I do ramble. If you follow along with anything I do, you do know evidently I like to talk. I ramble a good bit. And so I did make a list to try to keep myself on topic. Again, please go to patreon.com/Jeff Coates. This podcast will be there. You're going to listen to it, I'm assuming not on Patreon, but it will be on Patreon. And when at Patreon, open to the public, please answer. Was it 3 questions? Yes, 3 questions. Have you shot a band? Number 1. Number 2, how many bands do you have in your collection? And number 3, I have a couple bands in my collection that are not mine. There's some stories there too, and some of those mean just as much to me as the other experiences of the birds that I have shot. And number 3, tell me, in short, what's a good band story you got that's very memorable to you. So, shoot, this isn't even a half an hour long. I don't know if that's good or bad. I usually think I can talk for an easy hour, in which I still can really talk, but I've pretty much went through my list. This is day 60 of 60. Special sea duck season is over next year. Wind and weather has been a strong topic because the wind has been strong all season long. My next season's open. I think I got about 20 days of the 60 book already, so thank you if you are one of those people that has booked a hunt. Thank you very much. If you're thinking about booking a hunt, I'll answer any questions you got. Feel free to get a hold of me. New Patreon account up and running. The Banded Surf Scooter from yesterday. And that is all that I have. New videos up. I put a couple up really since the first of the year. I've been my YouTube game has been strong. Actually, a lot of it is kind of rewinding, going back to PEI in October. That footage I had, the videos I never got done, never got edited. So a lot of that's up there right now too. So, and I've answered. I have not answered. I asked questions, I got answers, and I've changed up my style of editing, especially my sea duck hunts on YouTube. So don't really use music anymore. It's basically the hunt in the rough, sort of, kind of. And the hunts are much longer. So instead of it being a 3-minute song that I put some hunts to, it could be a 20-minute, 25-minute, 30-minute hunt. So kind of more the video in the rough. And the Banded Scooter from yesterday is up on YouTube right now. So youtube.com/Jeff Coates or Pitboss Waterfowl. I appreciate you tuning in, taking the time to follow along with us. Thank you very much. I think this is probably like podcast number 25, I think it is. Weller Antique. It's tasting good. Need to start to think about getting in the mode for Karen to come home. And that's all I got. As always, thinking of you, we are.